Hello, everyone. This is Holly. I need to grab the link here and share with everyone so we can have more folks join us. And there we go. And hopefully we'll have some folks joining us soon. So 7H is a site to practice your English, and twice a week I currently offer classes Sundays and Tuesdays at this time. Sundays are live conversation classes, practicing spoken English in general conversation, sometimes with advanced listed topics, sometimes just spontaneous. And Tuesdays we have transcription chat, which is a pronunciation class. And here's Valerie. Nice to see you again. Hello.
Likewise. How are you?
Okay today.
Okay today?
Every day is different. So today is an okay.
Okay, perfect. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that you found us. I'm curious, how did you hear about 7H?
Just because I still have your details on Skype, and I saw the link, and
okay.
out of curiosity, I clicked on it. And
so I thought I had sent you a message months ago, but
no, I didn't get it.
Skype. Okay. It's been an interesting journey the last year. So I find all kinds of things I thought I did that I haven't done.
Okay, no problem. I'm happy to be here today.
So I see that you can see a little bit of our dog, Magnus. He's stretched out on the daybed near me here. Hello, Vasant. And thank you for your part in helping getting the scheduling here. So Valerie, do you know about the TED Talks and Teacher Lee's site?
Yeah, I've heard when it was Loop, there were some TED Talks conversation organized by Ivan, I think.
Right, and Ivan, and he'll be here today, I think, and he still does them, but from another site. And so you might ask, oh, Leila! Hello! Oh, how nice to see your smile there.
Nice to see you. Who are you?
Okay, yeah. Fun. And here comes Ivan. Yeah. So it's always nice, heartwarming to see familiar faces return. And there's Ivan. Hello. So hopefully Gerard will be able to join us too. And I don't know if Black Mata will be able, there he is, to get her connection working again, but maybe she'll show up. So hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Gerard.
Hello.
So these weekly hangouts are, oh, there's, he's turned around, so now you get to see his face. He's just chilling. Sunday relaxation. So these are just open conversation times. Sometimes we post topics in advance and sometimes not. And I did not post anything in advance, and I didn't see that anyone else has. So does anyone have something they want to throw on the table for discussion? And if not, I was going to review idioms and suggest whatever comes into your head that starts with the letter W. But we have cyclone. Okay, Vasant, tell us more.
Yeah, we have had cyclone forming 2 days ago, and it's not so far from my place, but it's just exactly at the tip of south end of Indian territory. So it is closer to my place, and it had rain. But what I witnessed was the disaster management was really poor because we didn't expect that, and the government had not done any precautions for such a natural disaster. So yeah, so in future, I hope in future everybody will look after the precautions of natural disaster.
Wow. Certainly lots of progress in this area in recent years. And I'm not a lot, but a little surprised that you're discovering a lack of preparation. It seems as though India has made strong strides recent years. So is it regional? Do you think it's just your area or the entire country that's still needs a lot of improvement?
Yes, I think the country needs that. Yeah, we only react once that happens, but what we need is the precautions, because people are not that much educated, are willing to be always what do you call it, being alert.
Alerted.
Yes, alerted, like Japanese people. So
Yes,
I think we need to educate them to how to react when such disaster happens, because
And
the panic can cause more harm.
How do you prepare for a cyclone?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think the way people react is, I think that's what I wanted to say. So you have to be patient, and you have to keep your children and your relative calm, and you should not spread rumors, because in such technological era, you should maintain a dignity. So you should keep your your responsibility. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to look forward.
So we have the expression to keep your head on your shoulders. You know, don't run around the room with it somewhere. Keep it where it belongs, and use your head, use your mind. Challenging under duress, but cyclones can be so strong, and my very little understanding, because I have not had to worry about them, is that they come along very suddenly. So I don't even know if they can be predicted as well as other weather patterns. I know that they can predict and state when conditions are ripe. They can say conditions are ripe for cyclones. Anyone else dealt with cyclones? And please, Vasant, stay safe. Keep your head on your shoulders.
I think that we, in general, underestimate the climate, the weather, the power of it. When I faced it in real life during my camping or during some hard times, I always fascinating. I always wonder how powerful it can be. So when you're in town, in your comfy place, you think, okay, it's rain, cyclone, okay, it's rain. I will take my umbrella with me. But when you in the forest, it can cost you life.
In the city too, as too many people are discovering. Yeah. Have you experienced a cyclone before, anyone?
No. But I wish we could have one here and sweep away all the bad people.
Oh, you have to laugh. There certainly are a lot of people to struggle with my negativity erupting today. Yeah. Yeah, some horrific things for sure. So you want a cyclone that targets very specific population. Some of the cartoons, political cartoons recently, I'm really enjoying this guy's cartoons for U.S. politics, and but I get upset with myself for laughing so much. But you need to laugh, you need to release one way or another. But I don't like the turn in negativity and the loss of my optimism. I'm lifelong optimist and really struggling to feel that much anymore. Vasant sorry, Vasant and then Valerie. Yeah.
Natural disasters are always harmful, but one thing I like about such a disaster is it brings people together. It really brings the humanity, real humanity, because a couple of years ago we had a cyclone in our state's capital, and being a capital city, it has the entire state's people inside it. How do you call it? People go there for work and education, so it has so people who live in that city are from the entire state, so they have relatives from the rest of the state. So after that cyclone happened, we witnessed that more rescuers than the victims in that cyclone, because everybody went toward that place and started helping people, and yeah, we really felt proud about that moment. Yes, we feel sad for the loss, but the economical loss, the disaster, but sometimes we felt proud about the humanity exposed at that time.
And thank you. And Valerie?
I just wanted to react about what you said about politics. I read your post about a turtle post, and I like it very much. You know, like a joke you say in the States about a turtle on a post. And I think it could be in every kind of countries, we could use that for politics, unfortunately. But it's very, yeah, I like it very much. It was very funny for me. So thank you for sharing that. So your name, you just typed Jules, is the name of a guy
making a cartoonist. Yeah.
Cartoonist. Okay.
Political cartoonist. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me and us. Okay.
And Ivan, you said you have experienced, you've been under a hurricane, so you've been in a hurricane, in hurricane conditions many times?
5 or 6 maybe.
Really?
Yes.
In Russia?
Mm-hmm.
Hurricanes in Russia? Doesn't seem like, that surprises me. So what?
We have a North Ocean around my place, right? And we have Ural Mountains, and sometimes it's happened, but you don't see that it's the news because who cares?
Anything Russia makes the news today. Anything. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. I love one of my favorite cartoon memes that I've seen this week is terrible though, is an advent calendar where you open every day, you open from 1 through 25, and it's the first day 1 is the latest politician to fall, and so everybody wants a new politician to disappear from Washington, D.C. for every day of December. And then, of course, the finale And it's terrible. I hear people singing jingles. All I want for Christmas is Trump to be impeached.
Can I change it? Trump,
Can you
comma,
sing it?
Trump, comma, somebody else, comma. I have some, let me see, 4 people in my mind.
At least, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then who comes next? And the same thing. It's a perpetual circle, or it's an avalanche. Yeah.
Holly, there was
We have all kinds of avalanches in the US stories today. Yes, Layla.
There was a discussion. Why not women rule this world?
Oh, there are some evil women.
Oh,
Well, we're not immune to that. We can go into gender discussions again.
yeah.
But it would be interesting to have more women have a chance to be under the same gun, trying to throw in idioms. Yeah, I have no idea anymore what. I don't think there is a government system that I'm aware of that works in today's world with all the challenges in my mind.
And they have to say that our today's TED Talk is about this topic.
Okay. Yeah, I admire her very much, Angela Merkel, and I think everyone should be able to see the difference between how Theresa May and Angela Merkel and President Trump, President Putin, and others deal with things. I mean, the image to the world is certainly different, but if they cannot be effective in improving the world, then, or their own countries, does it matter? Yeah, we're headed to new places, and I don't know where it will end up. Yeah.
I like that many Americans like Angela Merkel, but I wonder is somewhere in Germany do the same.
Right. Obviously, some dissension, and I haven't always agreed with her, but I like the way she presents herself, and I feel, as I think is what Layla is going for, that if we had more people presenting themselves in that manner, as my opinion, true leaders do, that we might have that keep calm ability to bring things to the table. But right now, in just about every country, we have fisticuffs instead, or slander. I mean, things that people say today would have been imprisoned for slander not so very long ago. They're libelous, but today it's just social media. It's what you're supposed to do.
Holly, can I ask Gerard one question?
Absolutely.
What's happening in your country, Gerard?
What do you mean?
I mean, I have heard some things, the attacks, kind of bomb blast or a terrorist attack or something like that recently.
Yeah, but that was this summer.
So it was the wrong news then.
Yes, the terrorist attack happened this summer in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Van rammed into some people in the center.
Happened, right?
No, recently it didn't happen anything.
Thanks God, right? Okay.
Oh, recently, certainly a lot of news though from Catalonia.
But no terrorist attacks.
Right, yeah. I know this time of year, every day I just wonder where the next headline is going to come from, and yeah. a lot of
maybe
cynicism
Holly,
in the
we
air.
can go and visit Ivan. Nothing will happen, but only the hurricane.
Earthquake there, that was pretty scary too. A lot of stronger earthquakes, which a lot of people wonder if it's going to visit California and finally give us the big earthquake that someday is going to send most of California into the ocean. I don't know.
I don't know. So just smile. Give us your smile to us. Right. We miss you.
Harder and harder to find that smile. Yeah, it's been a long year.
Christmas are here.
Mm. Mm. So
So
any
have
questions?
you met Valerio before? Valeria, have we met before?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't think to ask Valerie if she's met all of you or not before. Oh, your mic is off, Valerie.
So I've already met Gerard even. Leila too, I think, once or twice on Loop.
Okay.
Vincent, okay.
Because
Yeah, and
your
Holly.
face is familiar, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. I'm very happy to hear you.
Thank you.
Talking about natural disaster, I watched a series called Tremé. I don't know if you've heard about it, like that. It's about what happened in New Orleans. Katrina.
Yeah.
And it's really a very good series. It's not something, how can I explain that? It's something done with a lot of true stories. We hear a lot of music, also true singers who were there. And the most important parts of the politics are really well explained in this series. You have love stories too, but that is not the most important thing in the series. Very interesting thing. I learned a lot about it. I learned really a lot.
It's a fun place to visit.
Write names of the series so I can watch it.
Tremé, I just write it down. So Tremé.
Thanks a lot.
Like that. Yeah. It's not easy to understand, I think, in English because they tend to have a strong accent in the South. I don't know if you agree with me, Holly.
Oh, yes.
So I needed the subtitles to watch it. And, but it's really, really interesting, well done. And yeah, HBO, yeah, you're right, Gerard. So is anybody has watched it or heard about it or nobody?
Not yet.
No, okay. Give it a look if you have heard.
Yeah.
But it's really nice.
Disturbing. Katrina's
Disturbing.
stories are on so many levels, so disturbing. And I've actually been surprised that more people haven't been bringing it up with all of our recent racial incidences. Put Charlottesville on the map, where I'm from. Yeah. Similar mistakes made here on a smaller scale. Yeah.
We learn, and it's perhaps the same in India. I don't know that disasters like that are not treated the same way if you are in a very rich area or poor one. And usually politics have so much power. They can just choose to help people or to let them down sometimes. And in New Orleans, a big part of the population was let down.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
Right. I'm also reminded of Houston this summer and the horrendous flooding that is, in my opinion, similar to Katrina, idiotic that Houston is built and developed the way it is for so many ways, and idiotic that millions, billions of dollars went into rebuilding New Orleans, where the same thing is very likely to happen again without much of a better way to save people when it happens. You just put a Band-Aid on it and hope for the best. But Houston, I was astounded. I was ignorant and did not realize that there are no zoning restrictions stopping people from building in a flood zone in Houston. And there is no mandate that you must carry flood insurance. So here, where I live, where we have very, very few floods, flood insurance is mandatory if you live in a flood zone. But in Texas, where 100% of the people live in a flood zone, it is not required. So they don't. It's less expensive there than it is here, which I don't understand. But they know that the government and my tax dollars will help pay for them to rebuild. And so don't have to, I won't do it. So there are so many stories like this that it's very easy to be ignorant of.
Yeah.
But the building, people who build at sea level, build over a swamp, build over a bay, put down concrete.
You can come and visit my country, Holly. Believe me,
Similar?
Even after shocks, the houses could be demolished easily. And I don't understand how Japanese people manage.
Right, but they do. They have developed ways for things to succeed. Yeah, demolished. Question from Gerard.
Yes, I wanted to ask you something about this new law that Trump passed about the taxes. So
it's not done yet. It's not done yet.
It needs to be approved by the Senate.
Well, the Senate has to go back and be reconciled between the House and the Senate. But he's up to his usual antics. I'm not reading too many details until it's done. My husband's been reading everything because he's a tax accountant and definite impact on his career. So he's very grateful to be close to retirement. My strongest concerns at this point are the connections with healthcare, because in the US government, you have a bill that's supposedly all about taxes, but we have this weird little trick where you can tack on something completely unrelated. So as part of the way to get the tax bill passed, they're tacking on this little thing to take away one of the requirements of the Obama healthcare plan that President Trump has been unsuccessfully trying to get rid of since he was elected. And healthcare has been a mess, and it's going to be more of a mess, I'm afraid. So we're preparing. We got lucky this year, but we have another full year and a half before we'll be eligible for Medicare, and we're told to expect probably a 400% increase in our health insurance next year. So we're a little bit leery of what next year will bring, but so much has been happening. It's a mess. Which reminds me, I have a health-related question, pharmacy-related question for all of you. But Valerie has a question.
Talking about healthcare, I would like, not today, I don't think, but one day to know more about what is happening in the States. They say it's opioid, I don't know how to say this word, opioid crisis.
Yes, crisis?
The opioid crisis, like that.
Oh,
perhaps?
opioid. Oh, the opioid.
I've heard about pill mills, and I don't know really what it is about, but I've heard that 90 people every day die from that, and it's something huge in the States. Donald Trump said that he would like to tackle this problem, but we don't see any money put in that. I think it's really something you have to deal with that is like unbearable. For me in France, I couldn't think about something like that. Do you know a bit about this subject? Or
I've been trying to learn more. I've been wondering if anyone I know is struggling with this, with anyone in their family or loved ones circles, because the numbers are absolutely terrifying. And from what I read, it's becoming a challenge locally. There is a drug, I forget the name of the I forget the name of the drug, but there's a drug that can be given within a certain window of time, and it brings people back to life if they're under crisis. And in more than one city, the police and health officials are reporting Narcan, I forget the name of the drug, but the police who have access, they're giving police officers as well as rescue ambulance, as you would expect, paramedics, but the police officers and some other social services officials have permission to have dosages of this drug with them to administer it to save people's lives. And their police are reporting that they have saved the same person's life over 14 times. Yeah. Because they just go back on the street and they're addicted and they just take an overdose again and again and again. And the scary part of this is tracing it. Apparently it's so, yeah, desperation.
Because I've heard, I'm not sure about that, but I've heard that a lot of people don't want to take a drug. They just are in pain because of an injury, and the doctor will prescribe them some pills that are really addictive, and they perhaps are not aware of this risk of being addicted to these pills very quickly, and those pills are not very expensive. And they go into drugs without knowing it at the beginning.
So this has slowed down tremendously. Physicians were not aware. And my ex-sister-in-law is one who became addicted from serious, she almost died after surgery. And then she had 1.5 years withdrawal, serious withdrawal. But she was aware of the addiction and the doctors worked with her, but terrible time. And this sort of fits in with the question I have for all of you as well. So in general, it's very safe to say pharmaceutical companies love money and do everything they can to make more money. So they have a long-standing habit of giving doctors free samples of new drugs that go on the market, and of encouraging general guidelines for prescription. And the general guidelines are to give at least 10 pills. This is true in my experience and my husband's experience, even when we don't want them. Codeine, after having wisdom teeth removed or anything, 10 pills. If you need them, just have them so you have them if you need them. And we throw them away. We don't want them. We've learned to not fill them. We just take the prescription, don't have them call it in. We just take the script, the written script, so that we have it if we need it, and then never fill them. But 10 opioid pills is enough to get someone addicted. And doctors were for years prescribing 10 or 30, 10, 20 or 30 pills automatically. And that was enough to get their patients addicted. The patients would say, I'm still hurting, I'd like a refill. And a refill was enough to get the rest of the people addicted. So now doctors give 2 or 3 pills and have to see their patients again before they renew that prescription. So the doctors have been educated, and so innocent addictions are down a lot. But too many people are desperate to make money, so they'll market drugs and be involved in the industry. And too many people want to escape from the reality of their lives. And so it's been very easy to find victims at so many different levels. I have no idea what someone looks like if they're taking opioids. Apparently they still work for a long time. They still function in society. So I've been trying to find reliable literature. Most of what I see talks about how an awful lot of the opioid, almost all of it, is coming from a small town in Mexico. So I have questions for you too. Do any of you know of opioid challenges in your countries?
Really, I've never heard about that in France. And I was very surprised because my husband suffers a lot from a lot of conditions, and he takes painkillers. He has to take painkillers regularly, but he has never been addicted to them. The doctors are very serious about that, and they know that he has to change the kind of pills regularly to alleviate the pain, but at the same time, not for him to become addicted to them. So it's why I was so surprised reading these kind of articles about what is happening right now in the States.
Some cities, it's like 40% or more of the population supposedly are addicted. I just, it's terrifying.
And it's true that I think those new drugs are really cheap too, so that makes things easier for people to get them too. So usually people who are struggling in life are trying to find a way to, as you say, perhaps not to see the reality they are dealing with on a daily basis. It's an easy way, perhaps, not to be too sad or to be able to work. I don't know the effect of those kind of drugs, but you have a big challenge in the States for that.
It is, and there are committees trying to understand it, but so the strongest successful action has been educating doctors, because doctors were unwittingly the cause of too many. But there are also lots of doctors who like making money from prescriptions. So it's still a challenge. And it varies state by state to some degree, but definitely a huge change in how prescriptions are written and monitored now because of it. But the damage has been done. The cat's out of the bag, Pandora's box has been opened, whatever phrase. But when this is something that happened to me this week that made me blow my top again. When you get a prescription, is it usually written for 30 or 90 or some other number of pills?
In France, when you have a long-term disease, you can have a prescription for 3 months. But if you are a new client, for instance, or the doctor don't know you well, it's only for 1 month. And if it comes, for instance, for how do you say it? Pills that make you sleep when you need to sleep.
Sedatives, tranquilizers.
Yes, yeah, things like that. The prescription is very short. It's just 7 days to avoid being addicted to these kind of things.
So
So I think they are very well aware of that. And I've really never seen someone getting addicted by prescription from doctors. I've never heard about that in France, and I'm happy for that. But I think in the States, the pharmaceutical industries are very, very powerful, and they are lobbying. Yeah.
Yes, more than I realized. I learned this week. Anybody else know what the general prescription?
I can say that it could be psychological as well, to be addicted to some kind of medicine. Since my daddy passed away, my mom has been complaining about her head is spinning all the time. So the doctor gave her a kind of medicine to stop this. She is okay, but she can't stop taking the pills because she thinks if she stops taking the pills, her head will start spinning again. So this is something psychological.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I could add. There has been one improvement recently in my country. Nobody can buy antibiotics without prescriptions. This is something good because it is not like that. You know, in the past, people used to buy any kind of antibiotics easily. So I'm against medicine. I can only use aspirin. Because Gerard, you use only organic ways, right?
Yes.
Gerard, you have never used antibiotics?
Yes, once, but because it was ill. It has a beginning of a pneumonia, so I had to take some antibiotics, but I don't take it. I don't take them usually because it's bad for our health, you know. And then when we need antibiotics, they don't have effect.
Ivan, do you use antibiotics?
Yes. Actually, I'm from another side. You know, I do believe in modern medicine. I don't believe in these organic things, and so better for me to keep silence.
Not necessarily.
But most people don't know that antibiotics don't work with viruses. So you have a cold, you don't need to take antibiotics. But many people don't know that.
But when I said modern medicine, I didn't say that you have to eat any medicine that you can reach. You know, you need follow prescription. You need to find a good doctor. You need to be aware of effects of advantages, disadvantages. But you have options. You have options.
Yeah, but the whole is said that, you know, educate the doctor. So it is very important, I think.
Yeah. And surprising to me that it's, again, easy to be ignorant and assume that it would be obvious that doctors would stay educated, but learning that it's not. A lot of changes. There have been, and there still are a lot of changes in the way doctors are trained, which will eventually carry on. So I used to be one, and part of me still is, who does not like to take any prescribed medication. But this past year has taught me that if I want to still be here today, that I have to reconsider that. So I've tried many things this past year, but I have a prescription that I've been on for over a year now, that if I get a 30-day prescription, I've been lucky with this past year's insurance. I don't know what next year will be, but this past year's insurance is $12 for 30-day supply. And I just learned that for a 90-day supply, the cost is $14. So I asked my doctor for a 90-day prescription, thinking this
right.
makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
Come to find out this week from the pharmacy that my insurance company will not honor a 90-day prescription. They won't pay. So if I get a 90-day prescription, it will cost me $140
Oh, yeah.
because they won't accept insurance. What the hell? This is so dang wrong. I just,
Yeah, you're right.
and oh, look at Magnus. Very, very frustrating for me. And yet, what to do? I don't want to push people to want more drugs but the pharmaceutical companies have ridiculous power and work with the insurance companies. And yeah, so this was my lesson of the week. Questions I see.
Holly, I've been using a kind of vitamin for my stomach, and this is, I'm sure everybody knows that, Solgar, the brand is, and it is really expensive. You have to pay the money. No insurance out of the question. It is $40 for one bottle. You have got 60 pills in it, but it is for your stomach, so I have to use it till I die. It is sad, isn't it, Ivan?
But maybe it's a motivation for you, to earn more, to be a millionaire.
This is something organic. I can take it easily, but it is expensive, $40.
And questions from Valerie and Gerard.
Just a question. When you said that you can have only a 30 days prescription, does it mean that you have to go back to your doctor every month?
Good question. No, but it does mean that I couldn't fill my prescription until the doctor wrote a new prescription for 30, because the pharmacy can only fill exactly what the script says.
Okay.
So my doctor gave me a prescription for, I think it's 10 refills or something. I don't know. It's quite a long while, because I've been on it for a full year now, and I haven't asked to increase my dosage. I've been trying to decrease my dosage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We are very lucky in France because everything regarding health is free, and we don't know how lucky we are. I think we are.
But I think you probably pay for it in other ways, perhaps.
Yeah, we are used to pay for it on our salary, incomes, personal insurance.
Right.
But I've heard, for instance, that in when you had the big shooting in Texas, people who have been hurt there had to pay by themselves.
Yeah.
And some of them are wounded. They don't have anything more. They had to sell their houses. Nothing like that will never happen in France. Nothing, never. And someone who doesn't have the money, everything is free. Someone who lives on the streets, who doesn't have $1 in his pocket.
And this is what they're trying to tack on to the tax bill, is to take away the requirement that everyone have insurance. And as weird as that sounds, putting that restriction on with Obamacare helped enroll millions of people who had been without insurance, because this way they could get help at a very reduced cost. So now they're back to the system of being in debt forever for one hospital visit. And so because of that, people don't seek treatment and don't follow preventative
Yeah.
care. So this is where a lot of the argument for social medicine works, the mind games of people, highly educated people, are acculturated to not go to the doctor until you're deathly ill. Whereas if they were smart enough to be proactively preventative, and if the doctors were thinking this way more, a lot of things might change. This is what led to the push for major emergency rooms. So many people, the emergency rooms have to treat you. They can't turn you away. So this is where people go for a cold when it gets bad, when their child is sick, because they don't have a doctor, because they don't have insurance, because. So there are a lot of mind games at play, and I don't know the way out. Gerard?
Yes, I think healthcare is maybe the worst problem of America because it's so expensive. So why it's healthcare is so expensive in America? What's the main reason?
Because it can be. Money. Yeah, the main reason. Another 6 weeks of classes. Main reason. It's a good question, though. What is the main reason? What would any of you guess is the main reason healthcare is so
Insurance
expensive?
companies?
I think it's very interesting to think about that way.
Yeah.
Interesting comment. I think my answer would be because we're not thinking in a socialist manner.
I love that.
So be alive. It's a socialist manner, right?
The privileged have good health care. The rest of the people don't matter. If you have a good job and work for corporate America, you can have, even they are suffering though, but you can have better health care. Vasant, maybe the final comment, because I'm hurting a bit.
Yes, I think the reason medical field is so much expensive because you can have customers throughout the year. Even if you don't have customers, you can create, sadly, with the help of pharmaceutical companies. So that's what it makes so much expensive, because in India, I see people pay money like millions to join as a student in medical schools. So if they invest in millions, so what they will earn in future as a doctors or a pharmaceutical
Yeah. A lot of things at play. And yet we have the opioid crisis, right? And I need to leave today too. So nice to see everyone, and I will close a little bit.
Dear Holly.
Please join TED Talk. Let's speak about socialism.
All right. Have a good time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. I copy the chat and then I'll close.